Things I wish would come to Diablo 2 Resurrected, but probably won't. I know a lot of these things have already been spoken about by the developers and other YouTubers and avid gamers like myself, but I feel like there's a few that haven't really been touched upon, and I would like to touch upon that. The first thing I want to talk about is the stash and inventory size. I know this has already been spoken about by the developers, and it's already been touched upon, but I just want to reiterate how important that is and how strongly I feel about it. Now, they've already increased the stash size, and they've added a shared tab, which is already a great step forward to where you want to be. Now, they are fully aware that we basically use mule characters, and that's pretty much a standard in the Diablo series. As far as I remember, you always have mule characters that you transfer your items across to have. Now, a shared stash would help that quite a lot, but it unfortunately does not fix the problem. Problem is, Diablo 2 is predominantly a, looting game, and your inventory to where you can keep your loot is really, really small. Now, 20 years ago, it probably would have been okay, and the developers probably not really have thought this through too much, which is fine. Again, 20 years ago, it was a completely different game than what it is today, so I completely understand where they're coming from. However, they're now resurrecting it and making it a remaster, and this is a perfect opportunity, I feel, to add more inventory space. Now, I know the actual inventory itself will not really be touched upon, and as you can see, my player inventory is still quite small. Now, I understand the reason why they decided to go against it, and it's basically that if they feel like if they were to increase that, then they're taking away a lot of what the game basically is like. At the moment, you gotta make a really strong choice on what you carry on your inventory, because that does matter a lot. So, do you carry more charms and have less inventory space, or you carry less charms, have more inventory space, but you inherently become weaker or just not as optimized as your character can be with charms. Charms also play a great part in this game in giving you resistances and other great attributes. So with that, I can understand. However, adding a few more spaces to the player's inventory, I feel wouldn't really be such a bad thing, and I don't think it would affect the game in such a negative way. Yes, you'd have more space to have more charms, but again, had the game been a little bit more balanced in other aspects in other areas, maybe the players wouldn't need as much charms to balance that out. But again, I understand that that's probably a lot to ask, and this is still a 20-year-old game, just with a fresh new coat of paint. So, I still hope and wish that we do get more stash inventory size. Mostly because I don't really want to continue using mule characters, and yeah, I feel like we could definitely do with a lot more space to store our useless items that we don't particularly will use or need too much. So this is something that's already been touched upon and been spoken about before, and I feel strongly about, so I wanted to bring it up again. However, there's another thing that I also feel very strongly about, and I want to bring out that I don't think anyone has ever actually mentioned this, at least not to my knowledge. And that is just a rebalancing in general for items. Now, what I mean is mostly drops and drop rates. So, Diablo 2 is probably the game I've played the most by far. I've played this game more than probably any other game that I own today. But I feel like Diablo 2 is definitely the one I've played by far the most. And it's probably the one I also enjoyed the most. But in all my 2,000 hours plus of gameplay, there's only very few actual decent good meta items that I've found in the game that I would possibly consider being great. Now, keep in mind, I've predominantly played this in the early 2000s, so 2004 to perhaps 2012. And when I say predominantly play this, I mean play this like almost on a daily basis. Practically on a daily basis, constantly, to the point I've put hundreds of hours on it. Yeah, I feel like the item drops and the drop rates are not amazing, not great at all. You mean the grind on this game then becomes excessive, I feel. I mean, I understand that that's practically the whole point of the game, and basically the charm of the game is just that, which is grind for items and get items. But I feel like even with Magic Find, and especially focusing mostly on Magic Find, that is going to be just not good enough. Now, I understand that they've already buffed certain item drops in recent patches. The point I'm trying to make here is that within my thousands of hours, yes, I did get quite a lot of good items and item sets, but it took what I feel is way too long to get. You can play this game for 100 hours and not get a good quality set item, like, at all. I mean, even if you optimize your runs and you go to, you know, even if you play single player or even if you play ladder or single player and your player's 8 command and you have, you know, 300 MF, which seems to be like a good sweet spot, you can do however many runs you want and still not find like amazing great items like Arachnid Smash and Shakos and Stone of Jordans and whatnot. I know there's mods and mod support that can fix that, but again, I think the game is best played and mostly played online. So Battle.net still does have a lot to do with it, and I feel like Diablo II Resurrected will make that even better. So, hear me out on this. I feel like I'm gonna get a bit of hate for it, because nobody is, like I said, nobody that I've seen has actually mentioned this at all. So I'm sure other people might find themselves a bit either divided on it or just not really caring at all for it, which I completely understand. I know, and I get it. I get the feeling that
there's dark magic at work here.
Maybe just people just don't feel as strongly about it as I do. I don't know, but the point I'm trying to make is that I don't just want that items would be easier to find, like the drop rates would be that high. What I mean is, and I'll elaborate a little bit more, just to help Blizzard out if you're ever listening to this, that, look, at the moment, the way Magic Find works is that the more Magic Find you have,
I need mana.
The higher chances you have to get magical items. So your sets and your unique items only have a certain cap. So past the 200 to 300 MF, you basically aren't going to really get all that great return on it, basically. So yes, it's great for you to do. However, you're really not going to get great results. So if you got 10,000 of Magic Find, or even 1,000 Magic MF Magic Find, which, yeah, it would be probably a bit difficult to do, but it can be done. But if you have that much, it's not really going to help you get better items in the game at all. And that, I just feel it's disappointing, to be fair. I really wish that you could get better items in the game, but it's, yeah, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So that'd be something to look at. Just increase the rates that you can get unique items. And another big thing I feel would be also the difficulty. So yes, right now, the difficulty also does matter. So obviously you can get much better items on hell difficulty than you can get on normal. Certain items won't even drop on any of the difficulty other than hell or Nightmare or Hell or above, which is fine. However, you don't really get any better chances of getting said item on those difficulties. You just get the chance to get it, and then that's it. Now, I feel like, yes, maybe you shouldn't have the chance to get every single item on every single difficulty, but I feel like on later difficulties like Hell, you should definitely get better rates of getting those items that you want, so you don't have to grind for as long. So turn a 6-month grind perhaps into a 3-month grind. And to me, that would actually be okay. I would be cool with that. Now, before this video becomes even longer than what it already is, I'm gonna go and bring me down to my last point, and the last thing that I wish that they would improve, but probably will not, and that is make the secret cow level good again. So, the secret cow level, of course, was made as not as such as a joke, but based on a rumor from Diablo 1. So naturally they brought it back to Diablo 2 as an Easter egg, and it's awesome. It's a great level, and you know, you get to fight cows, so what more could you not like about it? As much as I like it though, when it first came out, and a lot of people probably won't remember this, that it was actually really, really good. It was a great place to farm for levels, and it was a great place to farm for items as well. So the drop rates and the levels you'd get from there would be not exceptional, but it was definitely probably, in my opinion, as far as I remember it, again, correct me if I'm wrong about this, perhaps the best place to actually go and farm for items and levels. So what is now standard to at least do levels with is obviously Baal runs. I think it was cow runs was a lot more predominantly back then than it was now. And of course with patch 1.9, 1.10 or thereabouts, everything has changed, and they basically made it so that it's nothing more than a novelty nowadays. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a terrible place to go and farm and whatnot, but it's not really an amazing place to go anyway. So you don't get the levels anymore, you barely get any experience. The items are all mostly normal items. You do get some runes, but again, they're not like amazing high runes. I think it's a really good place to farm for armor sets to make rune words in. And yeah, they basically just killed the level and just made it a novelty, which I understand that was the point to begin with, but I would love to just see it back to what it was before, and which I feel like it was a lot better before than what it is now. Sell value 1, what? Yeah, so I wish it was just a lot better than what it is now, I'm afraid, and I don't think we're gonna get that, but I don't know, I'm just putting it out there. This is my thoughts and hopes and wants. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, well, at least I mentioned it, and hopefully some of you will feel just the same as I do. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think on the comments below, please. Let me know what you think about the new Diablo 2, if you're super excited about it. Now, look, at the end of the day, and this has been proven time and time again with Demon Souls, sometimes all you need is a fresh new coat of paint to make an old game be good again. Now, with Demon Souls, mostly what they've done, they've included probably 1 or 2 quality of life improvements, not that much, but all they've done really was just increase the graphics and port it to a new console. They've kept almost everything else as it was, and in my opinion, that actually worked out quite well. Yeah, I mean, it's a short game and it's an old game at the end, but with a new coat of paint and new graphics, it's actually aged quite well, in my opinion. Maybe that's what Diablo needs, but I feel now is a perfect opportunity to also include everything else that the game could use. And I think part of it, or a big part of it, would of course be some quality of life improvements to bring a 20-year-old game back to 2021. So yeah, thanks for watching anyways. If you like this kind of video and this kind of content, please do let me know. Like I said, I want to get back into playing D2 again and get me in the mood for D2R. Till the next one though, thanks for watching.